Yavapai Broadcasting and the City of Cottonwood proudly present Inside Cottonwood, an inside look at the decisions and issues of the City of Cottonwood. Brought to you by Arizona Smile Designers.
Welcome to Inside Cottonwood. I'm Mayor Diane Jones, your host today. I have with me Councilmember Terrence Pratt, who is going to help me with today's interview and collaborate on that. And we are interviewing today Roman Scaturo. He is like this major, amazing community member in the Verde Valley. And I met him through Terrence Pratt. Last Tuesday, we had him come to our city council meeting and tell us about his project. He's just getting ready to leave on Monday for the last part of his journey, but we'll get into that story during the interview. First, I'd just like to have Romano talk a little bit about his background, maybe where he graduated, his family. I know you're very family-oriented, so share a little bit of information about yourself so our audience can learn who you are.
Okay, thanks, Diane. Yeah, I actually went to Flagstaff High School. Oh. Yeah, graduated 1981. And after high school, I attended college in the South Bay area, San Jose. Ended up graduating in 1987 with a bachelor's degree in business administration, focus on international business. I think just before my last final in college, my father, who was in the restaurant business here in the Verde Valley, called me and asked me if I wanted to go into business. So I had, I think, one or two interviews. I just gave them up and was on the next flight out to back home here to Arizona. So since 1987, the Verde Valley has, for 2 years in Flagstaff, and then since my father passed away in '87, the Verde Valley has been my residence.
And tell us a little bit about your business.
Sure. My wife and I, Patrice, we've been running it continuously now for 25 years since my father passed away. It's basically a mom and pop, small Italian style dinner house. I've tried to keep it in line and fashion with the way my father ran his businesses for 40-some years.
What's the name of it?
Vince's.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Vince's Little Star in Cornville. Yeah.
Right.
I believe,
Cornville, right on Main Street.
I believe, I'm not certain of this, but I believe we're the longest running restaurant in the Verde Valley under continuous ownership.
That's amazing. Yeah. So your dad owned it before you did?
I helped him open in 1984.
Okay.
And I was still living in California at the time and going to college. And then he died in 1989. I was helping him for about the last 2 years. And when he passed on, he left the ladle in my hand, so to speak. So
all right.
We have 4 children. We've raised them all from kindergarten through high school here, the oldest 3. The last one, the oldest 3 boys, the last one, Dominic, graduated in last year, last spring, and now we still have one child in school, Angelina. She goes to Oak Creek, and she's in, I believe, I better get this right, the 5th grade. Yeah.
Yeah, Dad, you better get
I
this
gotta
right.
get that one right, because I'll hear about it. So.
And as I understand, all the children have gone on trips with you throughout the United States, bicycling and all kinds of triathlons, and I've read about you throughout the years in the newspapers and all of the things that you've been doing. So let's go ahead and get started and talk about what you've done and where you're going. And Terrence, you had some questions that you wanted to ask him, and go ahead.
Yeah, I'd like to ask you, I know a bit about it, and I think the audience really would like to hear about it. Where did this project start, and how has it evolved over the years? If you can give us the history of it.
Specifically the 50/50 project or the Frank organization?
Or the Frank organization.
The Frank organization, okay.
Right, so Frank, family ride across America to nurture kids.
Yeah, yeah.
And I pronounce it Frank. Because it
Oh,
reminds me that there's 2 A's in it then.
okay.
So when I want to Google it, franc.org, I can go to the
remember
site.
that
You know, I
There's
never
two
thought of
A's.
that. It's a good idea, Terrence. I think I'll start pronouncing it Franc. Sounds a little French, too.
Gives it a little pizzazz. Yeah. So how did it begin?
It actually became Frank, which stands for Family Ride Across America to Nurture Kids, was actually supposed to be Family Run Across America to Nurture Kids. In 2005, I had this crazy idea. The kids were all still pretty little, and I had this crazy idea. I was trying to sell them to my wife that perhaps we could do a run as a family across America, and we would start out in one coast and try to run to another coast, and I was planning on getting a little RV for this, and one of us was going to drive, and we were going to take turns in a relay as a family to run across the United States. Well, as I started getting more into the details of the plan, I looked at the kids, I kind of figured out that would have been a little bit more trouble than what it probably would
More
have been worth.
difficult for them, yes.
Yeah, the devil was in the details in that. So I kind of panned that idea, and then the following 2005 or 2004, we did a bike ride I did with my youngest son Dominic, and one of my best friends Jim Bostwick, who coaches cross country at the high school and teaches up at the college.
Also works with Terrence.
One of my
Works with
colleagues,
Terrence we did a ride along the Lewis and Clark Trail, which is a bicycle route, and it goes approximately follows the Missouri River from St. Louis all the way to its terminus in Astoria, Oregon, into the Pacific Ocean. So we wanted to retrace the steps of Lewis and Clark.
How educational for your son.
Yeah, he got a good. We knew how to pronounce Sacagawea pretty good after that.
Very good.
Yeah, so that took us 8 weeks to do. It took Lewis and Clark 2.5 years to get to the Pacific Ocean, and it was an incredible trip. So after we were done with that, I decided to change Family Run Across America to Family Ride Across America, because it became pretty yearly, annual. We would start doing these rides.
And you do that mostly in the summer when the kids are out of school, I assume?
That was it, yeah.
And the heat.
And the heat, yeah. The bugs.
The bugs, the heat.
Yeah.
You were telling us at the council meeting that you sometimes sleep in culverts, and that just kind of blew me away.
Yeah. Well, we have some slides coming up, but in the slides, it shows the places I camped, and some places you would not believe. I don't think I could get you, Diane, or you, Terrence, at all to even step in them, much yet sleep in them.
If there's a snake or a scorpion or even a spider, you won't see me there.
Yeah.
So you did some other trips. Let's share a little bit of information about some of these other trips that
Sure.
you've done too.
We did in 2005 and 2006. We did the the Continental Divide route, which is a mountain bike ride, and we started in the first year from the Mexican border and rode to the Colorado-Wyoming border. And in 2006, we started from the Canadian border and rode south to the Wyoming-Colorado border. And then in 2008, we did a Transamerica ride, and we departed again Jim, myself, and my son Dominic. We departed from the most western point in the lower 48, which is in Cape Alava, in the Olympic Peninsula, and rode to Quoddy Head Lighthouse, which is in Maine. And then in 2010, all this we kind of ran through Frank. We kind of had different issues we were trying to raise. They always deal around children's issues.
And you were saying at the council meeting that you don't take a penny for yourself, that all of it goes to children who need help with illnesses and such, or have had hard times in their lives.
That is correct. When I started Frank, actually I got it organized in 2005. One of my goals was to have the organization be absolutely voluntary and no cost at all taken out from donations. I had different charities I was looking at for doing these events, but you know, there was always, you know, how much percentage they took out, and I wanted to have know that every donor every dollar they gave to went directly to the cause, that there's nothing being taken out. And so we've lived, that's one of our principles in the organization. I've never used any monies that were donated for our cost. We're self-supported.
That's admirable. And again, I admire what you're doing, and I'm amazed at the physical effort it takes. But the result is amazing. And how does one donate to your organization, or to your journeys?
There are two ways to donate. One is electronically through PayPal, and the other is the old-fashioned write a check and send it in with our contribution form. Both can be found on the website, on the How to Donate page.
www.frank.org.
Correct. frankwith2as.org.
I'm going to say Frank.
Or Frank. Thank you. Keep reminding me of that. We also list all our donors on the website, so we have a donor page.
I saw that.
I believe in complete transparency, and if the donor doesn't want to be listed personally, we'll have their name on it. Then we just list it as anonymous. Yeah. So, but all donations, no matter how small, go on there. On the baseball trip I did in 2010, I actually, at Minnesota, at the new ballpark that year, Target Field, I had a beer guy, well, we bought beer from him, but he gave me a $2 donation. That went on there from the beer guy at Target Field. So every donation goes in there, no matter how small.
To the people you're helping. Well, when we come back from our break, we'll talk about who you're helping this year and maybe who you helped last year, and just talk about where every single dollar that you collect goes and what great causes they are. So we'll be back in a moment. It's Inside Cottonwood with Mayor Diane Jones. See you in a minute.
Arizona men, women, and children battle the often debilitating impact of multiple sclerosis every day. You can help find a cure. Register today for Arizona's premier cycling event, Bike MS Ride the Vortex, May 18th and 19th, presented by Sam's Club. You choose the distance that's best for you, from 30 to 150 miles. Proceeds fund research that can make a difference. For information and to register yourself or your team, visit www.bikemsarizona.org.
Welcome back to Inside Cottonwood. I'm here with my colleague, Terrence Pratt, who also serves on the City Council for Cottonwood, and we're interviewing Romano Scaturo about Frank, or Frank, whichever you want to call it. It's frankwith2as.org, and we're just learning about what Romano has done, taken his kids along, very athletic, done a lot of traveling all over the United States, and he's trying to help some folks. And I want to talk a little bit about your 50/50. But before we do that, we said we were going to talk about who you're helping. And so who did you help last year, and who are you helping this year?
We've only had, this is 50/50 is only our second major fundraising event. The first one was the baseball trip I did in 2010. And that's where I set out to try to bike, starting in Houston, Texas, to bike to all 30 Major League Baseball parks in consecutive order. And I succeeded, finishing in Seattle at Safeco Park on exactly on the last day of the season. So I started day one and ended day.
And got to all 30 of them.
All 30, yeah.
And how many days is that?
It took me 6 months.
6 months,
and
okay.
I titled it 6 months, 10,000 miles, 30 ballparks. I set a goal of $10,000 on that trip. We ended up hitting 50% of our goal, $5,000. Remind you, these are all donations of $20, $30, $50. I think we had some $100, so it was a lot of little donations. We've never had one big.
A nice amount.
Yeah, and that was done for a couple of children, local children who were whose parents were involved in a domestic homicide, and it really, when that incident actually happened, it struck our community pretty hard.
It did.
And I knew I wanted to do something good for that.
And I think
so
you
that's what we did.
you called it their college fund, right? It was.
It was called,
college.
yeah, it was called their college fund, and this one in 2012, 50/50, I set out. We were actually looking for myself and some other volunteers were looking for causes in the area. We were aware of Dakota because he had gone to the high school, and Kelsey we were made aware of because they had done some fundraisers at our local community school in Oak Creek. So we, myself and another volunteer, Carrie Heisley, interviewed them both, and we just were completely struck, speaking to them, the hardships they had gone through. Perhaps I can regress a little bit.
Yes,
why it is children that we've picked as our
So share with us, why have you chosen children's issues or specific children to assist with the work that you do?
This means a lot to me because personally, my wife and I went through probably 5-10 years of different incidents that happened with our own children, and it didn't seem like we would pass a year that we weren't in hospital with another one. And our oldest son, Nathaniel, was attacked by a mountain lion in 1992.
Oh my goodness!
Up in Glacier Park, Montana.
And he must have been pretty little then, huh?
He was only 12, yeah. Not more. And then a few years after that, we had another accident with another child. We were in and out of hospitals with newborn babies, and I had several accidents. So I knew what it was like when you have a child in the hospital. I knew how devastating your life can be at that point. And actually, I did some fundraising events for Ronald McDonald House and St. Jude's Children's Hospital. But I knew that when I started this organization that was going to be our focus, was children and their families. So by helping the family, you help
the child.
That's the way to help the child.
So Kelsey, she's been, there's been fundraisers for her, and she was at our council meeting, and just a very beautiful young lady. And as I understand it, she's going to need a new liver soon.
You're right. Chelsea is just the most charming young lady you've ever met. Cute, just attractive. I think she's 14 now. It's almost heart-wrenching, to think that, what's going on inside her body right now. But she's been doing well since January. That was her last stay down at Phoenix Children's. Yeah, she has a disease called cystic fibrosis, and basically, it has led to complications with her liver, as well, amongst other things.
And right now, you can see her picture on the Cottonwoods Facebook page.
Yeah.
If you want to see what a beautiful young lady she is.
Yeah,
she really is. And you've helped her a lot.
Yeah.
It's on the website and it's on the Cottonwood Facebook page.
Right.
She's doing, like I said, since January she hasn't been in the hospital, but she's really a charming young lady.
Right, just had a lot of hardships.
Yeah.
And the young man that you're helping is, I read on your website, he's 6'2" and he's just 17, if that's not old information.
6'2", perhaps on his knees.
Yeah.
Dakota is, if I think of a hero I have right now, it's Dakota. He has been through so much in his young life, his few years. He's 18, I think he might be turning 19. When the night we interviewed Dakota and his father, Dan, it was, I went home and I couldn't hold back my tears. They have been through so much over the last, half dozen years that sometimes it's incomprehensible that the hand they would have been dealt. But having said that, they just championed through it, and they keep going on. And the best part, he actually had a blood marrow transplant back last year and spent almost the entire last year in the hospital and down to Phoenix Children's. He just got out, as a matter of fact, about 2 weeks ago, and is in another home while he receives daily treatments at the hospital. But the good news is he's doing a lot better right now.
Wonderful, wonderful. Terrence.
Yeah, what is your goal this year, and how far along the road to that goal are you?
Yeah, that's a good question. I try to figure out percentage-wise how long. I can tell you in mileage, I'm over 75% there, about 80%. The goal I'm on now, the trip, is called 50 at 50. And at 50, the first 50 relates to states. There are 50 U.S. states.
Right.
And I turned 50 just this last January. So last April, I departed on the journey from Juneau, Alaska, capital number 1. And I kayaked after a short 40-mile bike. I kayaked with my good friend John Alvey, local sign maker. And we kayaked for about 5 days, 65 miles to Skagway, Alaska. That's where I sent the kayak back with John back to Juneau, and we departed, and I set out to try to bike to the other 48 land-based capitals from up in southeast Alaska.
That's pretty amazing.
How about your fundraising goals? How is that coming?
We started out with a fundraising goal of $50,000. We're at about 15% as it stands right now, so it's moving a little slow on that front. But I have faith that, you know, the big part's still to come. So you know, I have faith that we will probably have a good chance of meeting that goal.
Good.
Well, great.
Yeah.
And you know, it's time to take another break.
Okay.
So when we come back, we'll talk about your 50-50 and where you're going next. I
Sure.
mean, it's pretty exciting. And for me, it's pretty scary. And I would think for your wife, it might be scary too. So come back to find out what Romano's doing next. And you will be surprised, I'm sure. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Inside Cottonwood. I'm Mayor Diane Jones, your host, with Terrence Pratt, my colleague on the council, and we are interviewing Romano Scaturo, and we're going to find out now. I'm getting better at that name. I've known you for years, and I pronounced it that way forever. So, so say exactly how you say it.
Romano, rolling the R's or not, Scaturo is actually how I say it in Italian. But
okay.
There's 2 R's on the end.
All right. So tell us, what is your next 50-50 project, and how will you accomplish that? What are the next steps to this fundraiser?
Well, right now, I accomplished the first 2 parts, which was the kayak from Juneau to Skagway, because there is no access out of Juneau. A lot of people, I never knew this before I researched it, but Juneau, you either fly in or you're brought in by ship. So the only way out of there is by kayak. So I kayaked from Juneau to Skagway. It took us about a week. Got on the bike from Skagway all the way up into the Yukon through British Columbia, and I hit the second state, which was in Washington, and Olympia, Washington. It took me a month, and then it was just, you can see the map on the website. Just click on Where's Romano, and you can see the map. It shows you exactly every place I camped. It just traverses the country in every which direction, up and down and north and south and east. And I'd get one direction and then I'd have to come back the other way. And I kept doing this zigzagging all across the country till I hit all 49 state capitals, finishing in Phoenix on the day before Thanksgiving, November 22nd. My goal was to finish before Thanksgiving, to be home with my family by then, and I accomplished with not much time to spare.
Very good.
Yeah. And along the way, I got to meet. We had written to all the governors. And
right. I mean, you have photos of, gosh, many states whose governors met with you.
Yeah, it was kind of fun. A lot of times during the summer, the legislatures were out of session, so there was nobody but a security guard or a cleaning lady. So I'd take a picture with them. It was fun and put it on the website.
That's 49. How are you going to reach 50?
Yeah, 49 at 49, I did accomplish. Now there's one more, the last goal, and that's Hawaii. This can only be done finishing in Hawaii. And it really can only be started in Alaska. So I started in Alaska, I'll finish in Hawaii. I still have to get from Phoenix to the ocean. So there's a little bit more biking. It's about 800 miles, and I'll leave. The goal is to leave, or the plan is to leave from Phoenix, the capital, on April 22nd, and to continue the trip to the Pacific Ocean, somewhere where I'm thinking around Monterey Bay, could be north of the Bay Area too. I haven't quite decided on the launch site. Once I bike out there, I'll fly back home to pick up my boat, Little Star, and then bring it back out to Northern California, where I'll hopefully commence the row from on or about the week of May 19th to 26th. And the goal will be to the final capital, which is Honolulu.
Honolulu. And do we have a photo of that boat? Did you
I'm not sure if I put the photo of it.
There's a photo on the website, though.
Yeah, there is a photo on the website. It's
very small.
It is 19 feet. It is less than 5 feet in berth. It's specially built for ocean rowing, is what it is. It has 2 compartments, fore and aft, that are sealed compartments. You can get in through a hatchway. But they remain sealed the whole time because of those compartments. The boat is actually what's called self-righting, which means if I get into big waters and the boat capsizes, it is meant to self-right itself.
So it's just going to toss you and turn you inside
it's like a washing
there?
machine. If I get into.
Have you done this before?
I get asked that question a lot. A lot of people say, "Oh, well, you must have a lot of rowing experience, or you have a lot of." I'd say, you know what? I've never rowed in my life. Actually, I have whitewater rafting rowed, but not open, not sea like this.
Ocean.
Yeah,
2,500 miles.
Give or take, yeah, probably a little more, depending on how much the wind blows me off trajectory.
And you're going to come back with all these huge biceps, I'm guessing.
Yeah, the pictures I've seen of other ocean rowers finishing rows, I'll probably look more like a starving skeleton.
So how will you get food?
I plan to take all my food for 90 days provisions. I'll make my water when I'm out there. I have full GPS.
Internet?
I actually won't.
Internet?
I have satellite phone, but to access the internet is very slow and costly. It's very expensive going through satellite communication. So I will have emails. I will be attempting to send back the blog on a daily basis. I'll be able to have communications with my family and my shore support, but that's about it. My plan is to row a lot.
So again, if we go to your website, after you've begun your ocean trip, we can track you?
Correct. Yeah, there will be it's just click on the Where's Romano tab, and there will be 2 options. One is where I've went already, and the second is where I'm going. And that will begin on April 22nd, and hopefully it won't last that long. But we'll see, because I sure miss home.
90 days.
Yeah.
Well, this is so exciting, I mean, for our whole community, and I hope you get some television press and television shows, and I mean, to me, this is big news.
Yeah.
And right here in the Verde Valley, someone that's lived here for more than 25 years is going to be a star.
Well, I blogged every day, and just to tell you how much this area means to me, if anyone has ever followed my blog, knows that all I do is talk about home. I really, I've lived here in northern Arizona for over 30 years, in the Verde Valley for over 25, raised my children here, conducted my business, and people ask me sometimes, well, you've been all through the country, you know, what do you think? Where's the best place? Where would you want to stay? And I just point right here.
Verde Valley, absolutely. I totally agree with you 100%, and I'm sure Terrence does also.
Yeah, and we're proud to have you be a citizen of the Verde Valley. You're doing great stuff.
Thank you.
So our time is up right now, but I want to remind the audience that you can donate to this cause by accessing the website at www.fraank.org. You can donate there, or you can write a check, and the information is there, I guess, where you can mail it. And
we have a form that you can print out.
A form that you can print out also. So I think that we're all going to be like sitting on the edge of our seats waiting to, I know I'm going to be watching your blog, and wishing you the very best, hoping you'll be totally safe, and thank you for doing this for others. You're a remarkable person, Romano.
Well, thank you very much for asking me to come, Diane.
Absolutely.
I really appreciate this.
Be safe.
I will. I will do my best. Thanks.
Okay. So that's the end of our show today. Thank you for being with Inside Cottonwood.